Alright guys, so today we're going to be replacing the screen on an iPhone 11 Pro. These are super simple. These phones just get easier and easier in my opinion. I'm just kind of looking it over right now to see where the crack is. And on this phone, the bottom screen's just not working right. So you want to have a PENTELOBE screwdriver, a thin pry tool. You don't have to have the exact same one I do, just a thin pry tool will work. And then you want to have a Y screwdriver. I have a Wowstick. I will leave a link in the description. It's pretty awesome. So the first thing you want to always do is start with removing the two PENTELOBE screws from the bottom. Now you do have to have a special screwdriver for this. When you do order most repair kits, they come with this screwdriver. And if you have a Wowstick, which I'll leave a link in the description, you will also get this with your tools on the Wowstick. So there's two at the bottom. I'm going to remove both of these PENTELOBE screws. Once we do that, we're going to grab our screen. I'll also leave a link in the description for this as well. This is a good screen. And you're just going to kind of take a glance and see where the cable connections are. That way you know when you use your pry tool to start prying it open, you can kind of stay away from that side so you don't dig in too deep. While you're prying, don't dig in too deep, don't go in too far, take your time. The screen most of the time is going to be already broke, so don't be afraid to bend it too much. But like I said, remember around those cables, and if you don't know exactly where they are when you open it, you're going to open it from a book, basically left to right. And those cables, you can see them on your replacement screen, so it's always a good idea to put your replacement screen up there to see exactly where the cables come. Even if you've never done an iPhone 11 Pro before, they're pretty easy. I'm glad they got rid of the fingerprint scanner. This makes this repair just so much faster. So the next thing you're going to do is you're going to take your Y screwdriver, and it doesn't have to be this Wowstick, but like I said, I'm going to leave a link in the description because I absolutely love this thing. But you're going to take these 6 screws and you're going to remove them. This is basically just a plate that helps hold down all the cables so that when you drop your phone, I'm sure you don't, but if you do, the cables don't pop loose. We're just going to go ahead and remove this little cable tray, if you will. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to remove the battery cable connector. So there's 2 screws right here. They're both Y screws as well. So just take your screwdriver and remove those. Once you do those, you can disconnect the battery. I always like to disconnect the battery first and then start disconnecting the rest of the cables, like your LCD and your digitizer and your front mic. So now go ahead and just start prying up the cables. The screen cables you don't really got to be too careful of. Just be careful with the one that goes up there at the top. That's your front mic and your camera up top. You just want to be careful with that one. Now there's going to be 3 screws up here, 2 of them, and they're all different sizes. So make sure when you lay these screws out to the side, you lay them out exactly how they came in. And the same thing goes for the 6 screws you took out before. You want to make sure you lay them to the side as well, exactly how you took them out. So we remove these 3 screws, and there's a little bitty screw over here on the left side, so make sure you get all 3 of those screws out. And when you take those screws out, it shouldn't pop off like this. This screen, I guess, had bit the dust and it popped off with the plastic on there. You can see by looking at the new screen that the plastic is still on there, so I need to take this old little plastic off, and then basically when I put it in, I'm just going to put it in exactly how it comes out. But usually you have to pry on this just a little bit and get it out, but this one just popped right out of there. But this is exactly how you're going to pry it out, the same way we're putting it in. So this little speaker that goes at the top, you just want to make sure that you plug that little piece in. And it doesn't plug in, it just kind of fits in its own little section right there. It's this little tiny rectangle. Once you get that in, everything else kind of goes into place. And once you lay one piece on the other, you just fold this down, and you basically are just going to line up the screw holes. And if you want to, you can kind of look at this from the top and just make sure that everything's flat and level. Then you're going to take your Y screwdriver and you're going to screw these screws back in. Remember, that one's always that little bitty tiny one. This one's the middle size, and then the one over here on the far side is a little bit bigger. So just make sure, it's very important when you lay these screws out, Just make sure you lay them out the exact way that you pulled them out, and it'll make life so much easier. Sometimes you accidentally hit the screws and they get all jumbled up, so be very careful. If you have to, make sure you separate the screws pretty good. Now we're just going to connect all the cables, and we're going to go ahead and power on the phone, make sure the screen does work. There are some rare occasions that you get a screen and it's just a bad screen. Sometimes you do everything absolutely right and you just got a bad screen. So if you do happen to do this and your screen is bad, or you don't get nothing to power on, that you don't get the Apple symbol or anything, don't freak out. You could have done everything absolutely correct and it's just a bad screen. Just pop on the old screen if it was still working and see if you get anything from it. If you get anything from it, then more than likely the screen you ordered is a bad one. Hopefully that doesn't happen, but if it does, just a little test you can do. So all I'm doing right now is I'm just connecting all the cables back, make sure they're down good, make sure they got a good connection, and then I'm going to power this iPhone on, and hopefully we see a white Apple symbol, and it'll make me feel all good inside like this screen is working. Like I said, I have got screens before, and you power it on and you don't get anything. And you start wondering what you did wrong, only to find out that the screen that you ordered was just a bad screen. Like I said, it does happen. So if it does, it could be an option. Just put the old one on there and see if that works. If that works, then you know the new screen is bad. But if it's a new screen, you shouldn't have that problem. So we're going to go ahead and take the screws that we removed. And remember, if you laid them out the way that you put them in, this should make life super simple. So we're going to take these 6 screws that were covering all the LCD, the digitizer, the front mic, and we're going to take these screws and we're going to put them back. If your screwdriver is magnetized, this will make life a lot easier. If your screwdrivers are not magnetized, I highly recommend making those magnetized. It's not hard to do. You can basically take a magnet and put it at the end of your screwdriver and just basically go in one direction. I've made a video about this. I'll try to leave a link in the description, but it's super easy to magnetize your screwdrivers. So I had powered it on a minute ago, so now I'm just going to turn it off while I'm finishing screwing in all the screws. I never like the phone to be on while I'm actually working on it. So I went ahead and powered it off, and now I'm just screwing all the screws in. Like I said, there's 6 on here, and then after that we're going to screw in the 2 ones that connect the battery. And all they are is little battery covers that help hold the cables down, so if you accidentally drop the phone or if the phone gets jumbled around, the cables don't come loose. I have fixed phones before. I've seen phones that when I open up, these covers are missing due to somebody that has fixed the phone prior and decided not to put the covers back. Either they lost the screws or didn't know where the screws go, or they were just trying to get this repair done really fast. If you leave this out, you can do the repair faster, but if you drop your phone and a cable comes loose, you will regret doing it. So put the other 2 screws back that hold down the little cover that basically holds the battery connector in place. And once you do that, you're pretty much done with this phone repair. It is super simple. This is basically live. I did speed up some of the screwdriver sessions, so feel free to pause the video. I always like to watch the video from start to finish and then go back and try to remember as much as I can, and then go back and do it and go to places to stop, if that makes any sense. Pause the video on some spots. But that's pretty much it. We're gonna go ahead at the very top where my left hand is. I always like to put that one down first, and then after that, just kind of start pushing around all the corners. You don't want to push anything too hard, but you do want to make sure that it goes all the way down and it's flush and level all the way around. Take your PENTELOBE screwdriver, and like I said, I'll leave a link in the description for this PENTELOBE screwdriver. I really like it. Screw those 2 in. That's your last screws. Basically power it on, test it out. If you know the passcode, put the passcode in, start messing with it, make a phone call, do what you got to do. If you don't know the passcode, you can always do an emergency call. If you click on the emergency call at the bottom, then you can just test the buttons 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's the way I like to do it. If everything's touching, more than likely you have done it and you've completed this 11 Pro and your phone is fixed. So now you can go and fix other people's phones. Just kidding, but you really can. So I hope this helped you in any shape or form. If it did, please smash the like button. Please leave me a comment. It doesn't have to be long. Just say, hey man, it worked for me. That way I can know to keep making videos. I really do enjoy fixing phones. It's just something I like to do. So hopefully this video helped you guys, and I really do appreciate you guys for watching. Thank you.